All right. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Matt Moda here for another live stream of Fast Break Bets presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Everybody knows by now, live 11 a.m. Wednesday and Friday, going through the NBA betting slate. Hopefully, giving out one pick at least for each game. Today, we have a 6-game slate. It's a little bit of a rougher slate. So, we're going to have one pick for each game. And then we're going to have a couple games with multiple picks. I'm in a little bit of a different background, so appreciate everybody bearing with me. I'm in my parents' basement, home for the holidays. And it's the troll trope. Everybody can just say, oh, you're probably just some guy in your mom's basement, because technically I am. But the good news is, last stream on Friday, we managed to vanquish our Friday demons. We finally had a decent day on a Friday. That had, for whatever reason, been killing us. So hopefully we can't keep that going. Obviously, today's Wednesday, but it was nice to have a good day on Friday. We went 5-5, so we won exactly half of our plays. But, and I did mention this on the stream, every single play was a plus money banger, so you can win half your bets and still make money. We ended the day up just under a unit, about 0.93 units of profit on Friday. That brings our total results to a profit of 9.51 units and ROI of 5.5%, with an overall record of 87-86. So once again, a point in favor of our argument of why you should take plus money bangers. Make sure to subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel if you are not already. Share this link to your friends so we can get as many bangers and in front of as many people as possible. And then get those questions, comments, anything in the chat. I do have it up on a second screen here. So if you see me look over, that's what I'm doing. I am checking the chat. Bird 100, good morning. Appreciate you joining us. And then, of course, you can find me at all social medias at Jedi Modai. And let's get into it. So the first play that we're going to go ahead and take here, 76ers versus Magic game. We're taking Tyrese Maxey over 30.5 points plus 100 odds at DraftKings. So the beauty of this play is not only is it a fade of recent results, which if you are new here, we'll talk about that. But if you're not new, you know that I love fading recent results. It's also a pretty good matchup play against the Magic. So as good as the Magic defense is, one area that they do struggle specifically is against point guards and mostly just guards in general. That also does include point guards, obviously. Now, they're not the Pistons. Of course, the Pistons are the worst. The Magic are not that, but they're top of the league in basically every defensive stat except points against point guards. They're listed as a 21st ranked defense against point guard, point props specifically. And they've gotten worse recently as well. They've allowed the last 4 point guards against them to go over their point total over under. That includes 30 from Jordan Poole, of all people. Now, this game, Embiid is already confirmed out, so it's not a questionable tag, which there are a lot of today. Embiid's confirmed out, and in games that Embiid misses, Maxey has a usage rate increase of 2.3%. And as I mentioned, we get to fade the results of his most recent game. The Christmas Day game against the Heat was probably Maxey's worst game of the season. He only scored 12 points, and he shot 4 of 20 from the field. Now, that's the second fewest scoring output he's had all year. But in that game, he scored 9 points, but the Sixers won by 40, and he only played 24 minutes. This one, he played most of the game. They really needed him, and he just didn't come through. I like for him to turn it around in this one. That is our first play. Andre, good morning. Appreciate you being here. Next up, same game, 76ers versus Magic. We're taking DeAnthony Melton to score 15 plus points. This is at plus 135 odds at DraftKings. So this one, it's a pumped up prop. His over-under is 12.5 or 13.5, depending on where you look. We're pumping him up to 15 points. And actually, I am laddering him personally up to 20 points as well. Now, we're only going to track whether he gets to 15 or not, but if you want to ride my ladder play up to 20, you can. Then this is another play on how the Magic struggle against guards, but this is even more so specifically for Melton, a play with no Embiid. Now, he's not the biggest benefactor of Embiid missing. That's Maxey, that's Tobias Harris, but he does get a ton more shots up without Embiid in the game. In games that Embiid plays, Melton averages fewer than 10 shot attempts per game. In games that Embiid misses, that number goes up to 15 shot attempts per game. Um, Embiid has missed 4 games so far this year. Melton has scored at least 15 points in all 4 of those games, and he's gotten over 20 points once. Last game, he'd scored exactly 15 on the Christmas Day game, and that was with shooting 2 of 9 from deep. So you figure that will even out as well. He should figure to shoot better in this one. So I also do like his 3-point props as well. But we are just sticking with the points because he could have another bad shooting game and still get us to 15 plus points. King Ming bet the under for Maxey, so I guess we'll be a little bit against each other in this one. That's okay. So we're 2 picks deep. Before I get into the next one, I do want to talk to you about the Betting Pros Discord. So if you're looking to up your sports betting game, I would say look no further than the spit game in the sports betting Discord community at bettingpros.com/chat. In the Discord, Betting Pros has gathered a team of expert handicappers, providing you with free picks for, even though the season's winding down, NFL, NBA, college football with the bowl season upon us, college basketball, NHL, player props, live betting, futures, alternate markets, ladder plays, plus money bangers, for NBA first basket, whatever you can think of, it's in the Discord. You can get in on the action again, bettingpros.com/chat. You can connect with individuals such as yourself, I'm assuming, who are sports betting enthusiasts. You can also elevate your own strategy. Gaining insights from the pros, learning how they go about their process will help you a ton. Join us today in the Betting Pros Discord. Take your sports betting experience to the next level. Again, bettingpros.com/chat. So, all right, the next game that we're going to talk about here is Raptors Wizards, but Andre's asking unit size in the book for Melton 20 plus. I locked it in at a quarter unit. I'm not sure where the best odds are offered now. I would check DraftKings because they offered the best at 15 plus. So I'm guessing they offer the best at 20 plus as well. Anyways, next game, as I mentioned, in the Raptors versus Wizards game, we're taking Jakob Poeltl over 12.5 points plus 110 odds at DraftKings. So technically, Poeltl's main line over under is 11.5, but similar to Maxey and Melton, I decided to pump it up a little bit to get plus money juicy odds. Now, this was a play that I found using the Betting Pros app, the recommended plays, the cheat sheet, which we'll talk about in more detail in a little bit. But Betting Pros projects Poeltl to score 13 points. So I did find this play on the app, and I just didn't take it at the main line. That's all. So I'm going to have 2 plays in this Raptors Wizards game. They're somewhat correlated. We're going to stick with the Poeltl one first. So we all know, I've mentioned it basically every stream that they play, the Wizards defense is a total joke. But one area in which they are an even bigger joke, the jokiest of all jokes, is allowing points in the paint, and it's guarding centers. On the year, the Wizards allow 28.83 points per game to opposing centers. That's the most in the NBA by far. The team that allows the second most points is a full 3 points lower at 25.42 points per game to centers. They also get smoked in the paint, the Wizards do. They allow the second most points in the paint. They're only behind the Pacers. Now, Poeltl is not one of those centers like Embiid who has, quote unquote, a back. So you want to target Poeltl in specific matchups. And this is absolutely one of those matchups that you do want to target him. He hit this in the first game. These 2 teams played this year. I expect him to do so once again today, hopefully coming through for us. Chris is asking about Durant over 28.5. I do have a play in that game. It's not a Durant point prop. I didn't look into that one a ton, to be honest with you, but just to be upfront. Next pick, again, we're sticking in the Raptors Wizards. We're taking Dennis Schroder, 8+ assists, plus 114 odds at DraftKings. I mentioned I'm going to have 2 plays in this game, and I mentioned that they're going to be correlated. So if Jakob Poeltl is going off under the basket, getting a bunch of bunnies, someone's got to be feeding him the ball. We're targeting Schroder for that. Similar to Melton, I'm also laddering Schroder up to 10 assists as well. To Andre, I know you're going to ask the question. I put a quarter unit on that one as well for the Schroder up to 10 assists. Again, we're just tracking whether he gets to 8, but just to be honest with you guys. So I mentioned that the Wizards are a joke at guarding centers and allowing points in the paint. Well, one thing that directly is related to that is they allow a ton of assists to point guards as well. Now, they're not the worst defense in that regard, that would be the Jazz, but they're the next closest thing. They allow the second most assists per game in the NBA to opposing point guards. Now, I will admit that it's been a little bit of a colder stretch for Schroder in the assist department. He started off just scorching hot, racking up a ton of assists. That hasn't been the case recently. Now, he got 10 assists about 7 games ago. Since then, he has missed it in 6 straight, but he's gotten 7 assists in 3 of those games in which he had missed. So in this matchup, we're not only fading recent results, but we're just getting a really good, juicy matchup against the Wizards. So I like for Schroder to go off in this one. Franklin is saying Gafford is not a bad center. He just attempts to block so many shots that allows opposing centers to open up in the paint. That may be true. I'm not going to disagree with you. He does seem to get a lot of blocks, but either way, that leads a lot of, it's a Kobe assist, I guess, which technically wouldn't go to Schroder, but it'd be a Kobe assist at least for Poeltl to get those rebounds and putbacks and stuff. So, all right, we are 4 picks deep. Before I get into the next one, I want to talk to you about a 1-year premium subscription giveaway that Betting Pros is running. So if you want a chance to win a premium 1-year subscription to Betting Pros, it's a place where you can bet smart, not bet hard. All you need to do is subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Hopefully you are already doing that. If not, please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. If you enjoy these streams and you are not subscribed, would appreciate if you could do so. And then all you need to do other than that is just comment on the video. Comment whatever you want. Betting Pros will be announcing a winner right here on this channel. So subscribe, comment, and then turn notifications on so you can be alerted when new episodes are up. And then you can come in and claim your prize. So how many points do I think Devin Booker is going to score? It's a tough matchup against the Rockets. The play I had in the Suns Rockets is not on Booker points either. We're going to get to him very, very quickly. But first, we have 2 plays in the Bucks versus Nets game. The first one is we're taking Giannis under 11.5 rebounds plus 105 odds at DraftKings. Anytime you're fading Giannis, basically in any stat, it's going to feel a little bit scary, but the under is the play here. Obviously, Giannis is incredible. Despite that, he's only hit this number in 13 of 25 games this year, and the Nets are one of the better rebounding teams in the NBA. They're not the best, but they're one of the better ones. Now, as of right now, Giannis is one of the players who's listed as questionable. If he ends up getting ruled out, this play will just be refunded, so no harm, no foul there. And I do like this as a sell high opportunity for Giannis. He had 13 rebounds on Christmas, but the previous two games, he had 7 rebounds and 10 rebounds. So it's a good spot, again, to sell high. And if he ends up playing, no harm, no foul. Next up, same game, we're taking Mikal Bridges to score 25 or more points, plus 145 odds at DraftKings. So this was another situation similar to the Jakob Poeltl one, where I did find this play scanning the Betting Pros app, but instead of taking him at the main line, which is 22.5, I pumped his number up to 25 plus to get juicier odds. The reason why I did that is because Betting Pros projects him to score 26 points. So instead of taking him at the main line, it's a situation where I pumped him up to get better odds, plus 145, because of the Betting Pros projections. Now, admittedly, if you've been following me along, generally when a team plays the Bucks, you want to target their point guard. That would be Spencer Dinwiddie, who there really wasn't any value on him, so I didn't want to take him just for the sake of taking it. So we went with Bridges where there was value. So you're probably asking, okay, well, how is there value on Bridges? He's been struggling recently. He's only scored 25 points in six games this year, 25 or more in 6 games, But even though he's not a point guard, it's still a good matchup against the Bucks. The last time these two teams played, Bridges put up 31 points. Tonight, we just need him to get to 25. And this is not a situation where I am laddering him up above that. I'm just taking him at 25 plus points. Next up, now we're getting to the Suns game. It's none of the plays that anybody has asked me about. In the Suns Rockets, I'm actually taking Kevin Durant over 6.5 rebounds. This is minus 110 odds at DraftKings. So it's one of 2 plays today that is not going to be a plus money banger, but minus 110 isn't terrible. This is a play that I found scanning the Betting Pros app. According to Betting Pros, his projected rebounds is 7.7. It's a positive expected value play of 23.8%, and they give him a 64.9% chance of covering this. Now, I don't really know what's going on with Durant. Apparently, the team is complaining about him, despite the fact that he's scoring over 30 points per game. I don't really understand why. What I do know is that even with as good of a scorer Durant is, I always felt like the rest of his game is a little bit underrated. He gets some flowers on defense. I'm more so talking about rebounding and assists, whatever. Yeah, he doesn't rebound like Giannis or assist like Jokic, but he's still good in both departments. He hit this rebound prop in his last 2 games. Hopefully we can make it 3 in a row. To be honest with you, again, rebound props are hard. I don't have a ton of analysis specifically for rebound props. This is mostly just an EV play for me from Betting Pros, who with a play as good as this one, I felt comfortable riding with it. So we are 7 picks deep. And I mentioned it a bunch of times, and I promised I would get into a little bit more detail. I want to talk about the Betting Pros app. You can find it at bettingpros.com/apps. So every scenario that I've mentioned that I use Betting Pros so far with these picks has been the cheat sheet. What you can do is if you go to recommended picks, you can find plays, kind of what I've talked about. It's based on the current line of what the sportsbook is offering and then the Betting Pros projection. And they give you, again, recommended plays based on the differences between the sportsbook lines and the Betting Pros projections. And then also looking at the odds as well. You can find strictly EV plays, which I do. It's also a good way to find pumped up props because you can filter instead of by percent of expected value. You can filter by difference between Betting Pros and the sports books. That's an easy way to find pumped up props. I lock in all my picks that I find on the app in the app, bettingpros.com/modi. So you can follow all of my picks there. I mentioned the premium subscription. You can also on the app download the Betting Pros app to access a free trial to the premium offering. So if you don't win the giveaway, you can get a free trial to it at least and check it out. And then it syncs with your sports books, which I think is super cool. You don't need to manually worry about tracking anything. Just log in through your through the app with the sports books. It syncs everything. So bettingpros.com/apps. I definitely recommend. 3 picks left. We have 2 in the Knicks Thunder game, starting with Jalen Brunson over 2.5 made 3-pointers. This is at plus 125 odds at DraftKings. As good as the Oklahoma City defense is, there is one area in which they do struggle, and that is, it's very specific, but it's guarding the 3-point line against point guards. And Brunson has turned himself into a pretty good shooter. Usually, especially when he was on the Mavericks, but whenever they would run a pick and roll with Brunson, teams would just go under. Now when they do that, he fires away from deep, and he's good enough to make them pay from doing that. On the year, Brunson has hit this in 15 of 29 games. He's got a great matchup again against Oklahoma City. The Thunder are allowing the 3rd most 3-pointers in the NBA, specifically to point guards. Last game, the Thunder played, Mike Conley hit 5 against them on an over-under of 2.5. Last week, De'Aaron Fox did the same thing. He hit 5 on an over-under of 2.5. We just need Brunson to make 3 to cash this play for us. Now, I haven't officially locked anything in yet, but I'm debating laddering him up to 4+ and 5+ made 3s as well. So if you want to follow along, if I end up doing that, I will let you know. The official play, Jalen Brunson over 2.5 made 3-pointers. Next up, again, same game. Chet Holmgren under 29.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. This is plus 105 odds at DraftKings. So this was another positive expected value play that I found on Betting Pros. 39.2% EV. Betting Pros gives him a 67.9% chance of going under on this play. They have him projected at 24.7 combined points, rebounds, assists. So you could even take this even lower if DraftKings, if you can find DraftKings offering it even below under 29.5 for even juicier odds. Because again, Betting Pros projects him at 24.7. Now I love Chet. Chet's awesome. But the Knicks are one of the more stingy defenses, both overall and specifically against centers as well. Now, overall, the Knicks allow the 10th fewest points per game, the 4th fewest rebounds per game, and then they're 14th in assists, so a little more middle of the pack there. But as I mentioned, they're stingy against centers. They allow the 6th fewest points specifically to centers and the 4th fewest rebounds to centers as well. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the Knicks do play at a pretty slow pace. That generally just limits stat accumulation. The Knicks play at the 4th slowest pace in the NBA. So matchup plus pace equals, I like fading Chet here for plus money odds under 29.5 PRA. I do think it's pretty good value. Last up, our 10th and final pick of the evening in the Cavaliers versus Mavericks game, Luka Doncic under 36.5 points, minus 120 odds at DraftKings. So unfortunately, we are not ending it with a bang. We're ending it with a minus 120 play, but I think it's a really good one. It is a positive EV banger that I found on the Betting Pros app. According to Betting Pros, his projected point total is 31.5, so pretty decently below the number we are taking it at. It's a positive EV play of 34.4% with a 73.3% chance that Luka goes under. Now, this game was tough to find anything for. The reason why, both Darius Garland and Kyrie Irving are confirmed out. And then Donovan Mitchell is listed as questionable, as is Luka. So similar to the Giannis one, if Luka misses, it'll just be refunded, no harm, no foul. If he plays, I love fading him. I love taking his under in this matchup. Now, obviously, Luka's amazing. I don't need to talk a lot about that. But he did just totally blow up on Christmas. He had an amazing game on Christmas. Now it makes it the perfect time to fade him in the next game. Luka loves killing the Suns specifically. That's who they played on Christmas. So it's only natural for him to have somewhat of a letdown game after playing the Suns and playing on Christmas. And it's also just a super high number. Now, anybody that tells you this number is too high, so I'm taking the under, that's bad analysis. What I am saying is that the number is so high that Luka could still have a good game. He could still go off and still go under. 35 points is a good game. That would cash this under. And the matchup, the Cavs defense has, despite their injuries, somewhat turned it around after a pretty bad start defensively on the year. So I do like fading Luka in this matchup. And that's all we got. 10 plays for you guys to lock in. The latter plays, just to recap on that, is D'Anthony Melton, 20 plus points, and Dennis Schroder, 8 plus assists. Remember to check out the Discord at bettingpros.com/chat. Remember that we're running a 1-year premium subscription giveaway if you subscribe to the YouTube channel and comment. And then check out the Betting Pros app, bettingpros.com/apps. And that's all we got. Hopefully everybody had a great Christmas. Hopefully you have a good New Year's coming up. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I will check with you on Friday.